So what had happened on the first week was of January that I thought, let me just take a very topical thing, which is it's the new year, beginning of the new year. And, let me speak about this fascinating number, 2025. And unfortunately, that recording didn't happen. Luckily, I've remembered this time. So this one will happen. So we'll post it on YouTube. But um, because a lot of people must have spoken about it to each other or something, I got a lot of requests. And then Dinal told me, she said, sir, why don't you just record one and, put it up on YouTube? Then I said, anyway, I'm going to do a recording. Why not make it a live? So that people who want to watch it live, I know Jyotsna, for example, any talk I give, she will always be there. And she was saying that the only one I didn't attend. So like that, there are many people. So I said, okay, we will have one. So this will be a recording as well as a live session. So that is how this whole thing started. Okay. So 2025, even before this year started, I started noticing that there were a lot of people who started to make people anxious. You know, we had some astrologers, we had some political pundits, we had Mr. Trump coming in, we had some elections round the corner, and so many things were happening. And generally, there was one thing about, that one has to be very anxious about this year because, blah, 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 blah. Now, I did a little bit of research myself, and I'm not an expert of astrology, but I did my own research and I found that it's actually quite the opposite. This is going to be an incredible year, and we, as we go along, I will explain to you why this year will be so incredible for us. And when you see the events also that unfold, after all, this happens to be our kumbh, and this is one of those mahakumbhs, which happened once in a very long time, right? I don't know, 144 years or whatever it is. um, and there is something special about the number itself. So as many of you know, I love mathematics, and I always get fascinated with mathematics. So here was something where I thought that, we could all have some fun at the same time, remove this angst that there is about this 2021. So I thought, and I can see it was 5th of Jan that my first session was there. So I'm just repeating that PPT here. Now, one of the most beautiful things about this is that this number is actually a square. Yeah. What is a square? It is any number multiplied by itself. Yeah. Like 2 square is 4, 3 square is 9. 2025 is 45 square. Yeah. So 45 square is 2025. Therefore, in this year, there could be many people whose age is 45. I don't know. Maybe even amongst you, there could be somebody who is 45 years old. Yeah. And if you are, this year is actually a square of your age. And this is significant because it just goes on to show how unique, and it doesn't happen every year or every 5 years. It takes a long time for somebody to have the square of their age be the year. Yeah. And I'll show you why. The last one was in 1936. That's quite some time back when it was 44. So if you were 44 years, born in 1892, then you could have a square of your age in 1936. If you're going to be born in 2070, then you will have a square of your age 46, which is 2116. Therefore, you can see only those who are born in 1980 can experience the square of their age as a year. Otherwise, you should have born in 1892 or 2070, you have to be born. Yeah. So it is in itself quite unique. Yeah. I'm just trying to build up the narrative here about why I think that this is a very unique year. Also, this has got some very strange properties. Yeah. Like, for example, I can take a number to be some exponential of primes. For example, I can take 2025 to be 3 exponential 4. That means 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 into 5 times 2. That is 5. 5 into 5. That's 25. Yeah. So 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 9 is 81. 81 times 25 becomes 2025. And if you see here, in some order, you will see 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 2025. But I can continue this, adding more things. Like, for example, if I put 1 is to 0, 1 is to 0 is always 1 only, right? So 2025 is 1 is to 0 into whatever that we were talking about. That is into 3 times 4 and into this thing, right? So you can see here it will have the number 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So 1 is to power 0, 1 exponential 0 into 3 times 4 in 3 exponential 4 and 5 exponential 2. Okay. Okay. You might say, okay, this is something all right. I've shown all the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in this. I can go on. I can say 1 to the power 6 into 3 to the power 4, 5 to the power 2 into 7 to the power 0. And I can show it now in some order. It has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then I can actually go on to say that I can have 1 to the power 6 like this, like this. And if I break it up, you will see I have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is probably the only number where it can be expressed in some form of all the numbers from 1 to 9. Another interesting thing that I'll give you. Suppose I write 1 one time, 2 two times, 3 three times, 4 four times, 5 five times, and I go on like that. I will write 6 six times, 7 seven times, up to 45 times. And if I now count how many digits there are in this, how many do you think there are? 2025. Yeah. So 2025 is something that can be expressed in many, many ways. So you might be thinking to yourself, why is he talking about all this kind of a thing? I want to know what 2025 means to me in my life, right? I can see Aloysia there looking very interested. I'm sure she wants to know what's happening in 2025 to her. Yeah. So all of us want this. But then, it's very interesting because those of you who joined Sankhya Karika, the talks, we had one session, and the next one will be in the next Sunday, the first Sunday of March 2nd, I think. So it is all mathematics. The language of the universal intelligence, call it the divine, call it the Brahman, call it whatever you want. The language is mathematics. Yeah. So if 2025 is happening this year in our lives, we should understand what is this mathematics of 2025. And then I will come to the real rahasya that I want to share about why 2025 is very special for you. Yeah, so just bear with me. This is all just like some fun facts. Yeah. So again, when you look at 2025, it's a very peculiar thing. Either you can write it as 20 plus 25, the whole square, which is 45 squared, which is what we started with. Or if I write 1 to the 1 cubed, 2 cubed, plus 3 cubed, 4 cubed, 5 cubed, 6 cubed, 7 cubed, 8 cubed, 9 cubed. If I add the cubes of all the numbers 1 to 9, what do I get? I get 20, 25. See, there is something that is slowly evolving. In other words, I can express this as a square, or I can express this as a cube. And now, those of you who are that shadow of the whip kind of horse of Ashtavakra Gita would be getting it already. Yeah, something where the square matches the cube. Okay. So what is this square? What is this cube? When we square something, when it is exponential 2, what is it? When it's exponential 3, what is it? Slowly, it might be working in the back of your mind. If it hasn't, don't worry, I will explain. I'm here to explain that to you. Yeah. So we have this now. So either it can be expressed as a square, or it can be expressed as a cube. Now, another interesting fact, 2025 is a Harshad number. Okay. I don't know how many of you remember me speaking about this Harshad number. Okay. Harshad number is very interesting. You know, Gurudev, I think it was in 2022. Yeah. In 2022, he created a cell for master planning the ashram. Yeah. So he created one cell. Yeah. So it was like one body to master plan for the ashram. I was blessed by him to head that. And we had a lot of trainee architects. Yeah. So I mentored them. So they used to come for 3 months, 6 months like that. And I used to mentor them. And we all worked on several master planning projects, but the big one was the ashram itself. Yeah. So when we did that, we found some extraordinary things about this ashram. Yeah. You know, ashram, where did it start? It started near gate number 1 in the Devi Kutir. That was the first little thing that was built. Basically, Gurudev used to stay there. People used to, come there. He used to give discourses there. That's where it all started. Yeah. That's just next to VVKI offices. Yeah. So the Devi Kutir, that's where it started. Okay. After that, what happened? A Sumeru Mantap was built. Right. So all of you know, when you go up gate number 1 up that hill, you get the Sumeru Mantap. Okay. After that, what was built? The VM was built. Yeah. After that, what was there? No, even before the VM, the Ganga Kutir was built. Yeah. That is the old circular Ganga Kutir. That was built from Kashyapa, that road which goes up. There was Ganga Kutir. After that Ganga Kutir, the VM got built. And then very lately during COVID, the new Shiva temple got built. Okay. Now, you believe it or not, when we plotted all this on the drawing, there is one straight line. One straight line. Now, who would have imagined that when you built Devi Kutir and Sumeru Mantap, that straight line happened? But how would Gurudev know that when he built the Shiva temple, it will still be on that straight line? Only he knew. Nobody else knew. He just showed one place and he didn't even make a big deal of it. During COVID, he says, हाँ इधर बना देते हैं इसको. But precise line. That the story doesn't stop there. The story is that that line is a very special line. It is called a ley line, and ley line is a magnetic vortex line. So just like we've got latitude, longitude and all that, we have got a map of this world where they plot the ley lines. So you will see that all the pyramids of Americas, the Egyptian pyramids, Mesopotamia, all these things, they will all sort of come up, and you will find that they all will be on ley lines. And this special ley line which goes through our ashram is called ley line 133. And that was a Harshad number. So now what is that Harshad number? Let us come to one of those things. Now it is very, very interesting. Now, if you took the numbers that are there in 2025, what are the numbers? You have 2, you have 0, you have 2 plus 5. If you add these numbers, it becomes 9. Now, when you divide this, it will immediately become 225. This 225, if I divide it by 9 again, it just becomes 25. So, this divisibility by adding the digits is called the Harshad number. And Harshad number has got very interesting properties. Yeah. Now, another very interesting thing about this 2025. If you took the sum of the first 45 odd numbers, yeah, so you took 1 plus 3 plus 5 plus 7 plus 9 plus 11, all the odd numbers, if you took the first 45, the last one would be 89. If you added all this, you will still get 2025. It's fascinating. It is fascinating that this number, 2025, imbibes in it so much of beauty. And that is why I believe that this is a watershed year for the entire planet. It's something that is very, very special for the entire planet. And in a very positive way. I'm not talking to some doomsday expert saying that Trump is going to come and blow up the world. I'm not talking that way. I'm just saying that this is a very special number. This is a very special year. And we can continue. Now, if you see, so the sum of the first 45 odd numbers again is 2025. Now, let us do something very interesting. If we created a table like this, where in the first column, it is 1 times table. 1 ones are 1, 1 twos are 2, 1 threes are 3, 1 fours are 4, up to 9. Second one is 2 times table. 2 twos, 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 3 is 6. So that goes on. Then you put all the tables. So you get a 9 by 9 arithmetic table, yeah, multiplication table. If I added all these numbers in this matrix, in this 9 by 9 matrix, it again comes to 2025. Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, there are not a whole lot of numbers in our understanding of numbers that can do this kind of a thing, but 2025 does it. Yeah. Now, actually, I will come to the very interesting part, because in our life, what happens? Every time the new year will come, we have this habit of making some resolutions. So we will say, this year, boss, I will say that I will do this, or I will not do that, or something. So new year resolutions are made. It is some kind of a ritual. Yeah. So people make new year resolution. Then 1 year will pass. Sometimes some part of that resolution may actually happen. Some may not happen at all. Some may happen in a very weird way. You said you wanted to do something this year, but at the end of the year, yeah, that happened, but that's not what you wanted. Yeah. So all kinds of, I call it loss in translation. Okay. This is called loss in translation. You intended something to happen. You made a resolution and all that. So very nice. 1st of January, you got up. Some people would write it in their notepad. Some people write it on one book, or some people keep it in their head that this year, nothing doing. This year, my resolution is this. Okay. So it's very interesting because we know, and especially Mandalavatika students and people who are following Sankhya Karika now, Nasadiya Sukta, those who have done that with me, you know one thing, that we are all manifestors. Yeah. Ultimately, the rahasya in this planet is that we are the ones who can manifest our reality. Yeah. It's actually we are manifestors, but there is loss in translation. That means I have a lens. Okay. And through that lens, I can actually manifest something, but the lens is a little bit distorted. So while something gets projected in my reality, it may not be what I wanted exactly. Yeah. So this loss in translation is something that has many reasons, but one of the reasons could be just that particular time. Okay. So that particular year as a number, that number itself may be causing some distortion. So what is special about 2025? So 2025 is very unique in this regard. And I will show you a small video, and then we will come back and I'll tell you why this video has got a manifesting impact on how your 2025 is going to be. Yeah. So let us watch this little video. Just tell me whether you can all hear it properly. Then let me play this.
Approach the new year 2025, we can reflect on its interesting properties. To me, its most interesting property is that on the one hand, it's the sum of the first 9 positive cubes, 1 cubed plus 2 cubed, and so on up to 9 cubed. On the other hand, it's also the square of the sum of the first 9 positive integers, 1 plus 2 plus 3, and so on up to 9. This means that the sum of the first 9 cubes is equal to the square of the first 9 positive integers. This is one example of a famous theorem known as Michaelis' theorem. One of my favorite proofs of this theorem is a visualization that uses stacks of cubical arrays. In particular, we can look at the sum of the first 9 cubes as this stack of cubical arrays where each cube has a side length 1 up to 9. But now we can take these cubical arrays and lay them down in a systematic way. Each of the cubical arrays can be laid out in an L-shaped gnomon. The odd-sided cubes lay down perfectly into these gnomons, while the even-sided cubes have to have one layer cut in two to fit perfectly. But once we do this, we see that the 9 cubes fit perfectly into this square array of unit cubes. But this square array has a side length given by the sum of the first 9 positive integers, and therefore this visualization demonstrates that the sum of the first 9 cubes is equal to the square of the sum of the first 9 positive integers.
So this is where the rahasya starts. Yeah, this is where we have to unravel the minute secret that is embedded here. What does he basically say? He says that 2025, it can either be the sum of the cubes of 1 to 9. That means 1 cube plus 2 cube plus 3 cube up to 9 cube. If you add it, it becomes 2025. Or it can be 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8 plus 9. You add 1 to 9 and then square it. And he shows how, therefore, if you took, yeah, we are recording, right? Did you, I don't know why this is here, but we are recording it, right? Yeah. So if we understand this very carefully, yeah, that means this particular number 2025 has this incredible ability where if you take the cubes, okay, so 2 cube is what? The same number multiplied by itself 3 times. So 9 by 9 by 9 is 9 cube. So it is a 3-dimensional cube. Then 8, number 8 cube, number 7 cube, like that. If you take all the cubes and then you flatten them, it becomes a perfect 9 by 9 square. So what has happened here? And it becomes perfect. That means there is no loss in translation. There is nothing extra to be added. There is nothing that gets taken away. That cube becomes a perfect square. The sum of the cubes becomes a perfect square. That means the loss in translation, that means something that is at a higher dimension of 3, when it is taken to a lower dimension of 2, it happens perfectly without loss in translation. That means every bit fits for the third cube to become a square. That means 2025, the year itself, has this ability to take something from a higher dimension and project it into a lower dimension without any loss in translation. So let's go back to our New Year resolution. In which dimension is New Year resolution made? It is not made in our 3-dimensional world, because it is made at a higher dimension. Let's call it the 4th dimension. Okay? Anything during 2025, a sankalpa which is taken in a higher dimension will manifest in a lower dimension, which is our 3-dimensional universe, without loss of translation. So this is the embedded secret of all that I showed you up to now. The embedded secret is that if at all you want to make resolutions, you want to take sankalpas, you want to do some amazing things in this year, this is the year to do it. The next one is very far away. It is in some 2114 or something like that. Yeah. It's very far away. I don't know. At least I won't be there. I don't know how many of you will be there, but it's very far away. And the last one was 1836. That's also gone. You are sitting in a God-given beautiful year where you can manifest something inside at a higher dimension into your 3D world without loss in translation. How beautiful is that? Yeah. How beautiful is that? So this is what I wanted to share with you. That was on the New Year, January I shared, but I'm doing that again. So that's it. That's it from my side. So it is a great year. So forget all these, doomsday specialists who are going to predict disaster and all that. Nothing. Everything is going as per plan. Yeah. And if at all there is a year where very easily what you think here will become a reality, this is the year. After this, the next one is very far away. And you and me are not going to be around to see it. Yeah. Last one was also very far. Even those people are all gone. So we are here in a nice little patch. Yeah. Comes very rarely, and take advantage of it and have a great year ahead. Yeah. So with this, we will close our session. It's a very short session. Yeah. Om Guru Bhyoya Namaha. Hari Om. Jai Gurudev.